lovely. Good morning. I'm just going to wait for a second for the stream to catch up with me like I usually do. Hello, Kagglers. Send this to Twitter. I don't know, I always forget to tweet in the mornings. Starting now. On. I hope you're all having a good Friday or Saturday. It shouldn't be Thursday anywhere in the world, right? Anymore. It's only every 2 days at a time. Yeah. Happy Friday/Saturday, whichever it is for you. Alright. Get that going. I don't hear YouTube, which is not a great sign. But not said hi. Alright, there we go. Okay. Sounds good. Oh, that is quite the delay as well. Okay, so what are we doing this week? So for quite a while now, we've been working on, I'm too hot. For quite a while now, we've been working on the project to summarize information from the Kaggle forums, because previously today, continuously, I'm still doing this. I've been reading all of the Kaggle forum posts with my eyes, and the number of forum posts continue to grow in pretty much an exponential fashion. So I am working to automate the job of reading the forum posts and summarizing the information in them. Asa, I'm guessing, and Pratik, hi, welcome. So we've done quite a bit of work. We've tried some different things. We finally got to something that works, and that is doing embeddings. So using Word2Vec. Open this guy. Embeddings using Word2Vec, and then using those embeddings to create document embeddings, where we take the average across all the words and just squanch them down. More arm space now, a little bit, and just squanch them down. And then the last thing that we've been doing is clustering, using spectral clustering, and then getting information about the clusters using this sort of measure of saliency. And so what I thought we could do today is actually start working on generating a report for the forums. And we're not completely done. There's some other things I'd like to do. I'd really like to add some sentiment analysis. I'd really like to do here's the most upvoted and most downvoted post. Here's the things that had the most replies, that sort of information, or the forums that were most popular, stuff like that. But first, I want to get this report format going, and then we can use the information about the forum post and just keep adding to it and building on it. But again, my eyeballs, they're so tired. I have my phone on the other desk. I probably have close to 200 emails that are just forum posts this morning to go through, and it takes a while. So let's kick things off by... I'm trying to decide if we want to open this kernel and start running it. We might as well. And I think I'm going to... where's my edit button? There we go. I have filed a bug for that, so that should be fixed in the medium near future. M-A-K says, I'm guessing Privyet. I'm pretty sure the pie is a P, so hello. Pretty sure that's what that is. So we just run all of this, and I've done a little bit of thinking about what I want this to look like. Because eventually I do want to write a Slack bot that I can be like, hey, Slack bot, check the forums for me. And then the bot goes and gets all the information and does all of and then generates a report and sends me the report, which I imagine will take a little bit, especially the sort of the embedding and stuff. So I've been thinking about different ways that I could share this content. So one way would be in just a notebook with output, which I think is not necessarily bad, but the way that we have it currently, I'd need to commit the whole notebook, and that takes a while. And also, it's I guess I could just make it public and then keep rerunning the notebook and keep sending it to people. So that is one option. But another option that I think might be a little bit better for me and give me more options downstream is to generate an HTML file that has information. And the big reason that I want to use an HTML file is because I do want a way to look at the clusters and the information a little bit more closely. Once I've looked at the overall clusters, I'll be like, oh, this cluster looks interesting. I should check it out. So let me see where we've gotten. Please don't have created an error for me. It didn't. Excellent. So we have some information here about surprising words in a couple of different clusters. So this one we have trained df columns and TGT are the surprising words given the so the words that are much more frequent in this cluster than they are on the Kaggle forums as a whole. And I want a way to quickly see the clusters, and then if I'm interested in a particular cluster, drill down into it. And I feel like the simplest way to do that is to have the cluster information at the top of an HTML tile, and then each cluster has a link to the posts in the cluster, so I can go down and check that out and get more information if I want to see the posts in it. I think this will be particularly helpful for bug reporting. If I think there's a cluster around a bug, I can be like, hey, look at all these posts. I think they're about the same bug. And then the Eng team can sort of flip through them a little bit more quickly. So that's the idea. Himansu says, sentiment analysis sounds interesting. Are there any approaches to determine if a sentence is more positive or negative? Yes, many. There's many different ways of doing sentiment analysis, which is part of the reason that I don't want to do that today, is just because there's a lot of things to pick. Masmil says, what's the difference between rake and yake? I haven't worked with rake a whole bunch. I think the benefits of yake as opposed to other keyword extraction things that I have used is that it's a little bit faster and unsupervised, so I don't need to provide any training data, which is nice. And I don't know if that's also true of rake. Kova says, will there be more visualizations? Maybe. That's the stretch goal for today. I don't think we'll get there. I think today we're going to generate an HTML file, and that will be the thing that we do. And give that a little sippy sip. So, I think like a flat HTML will be good. It's very platform agnostic. I can like send it to people and they can open it in their browser. And it's also going to be smaller. So if I wanted to, because a Jupyter file is like JSON and there's a bunch of stuff and metadata, and a flat HTML file can be like much smaller because there's just like the structured information in it. So I'm hoping that because this is smaller, it'll be easier for me to pass into downstream tasks and just sort of like move a little bit more quickly. So we will see. Robbie says, I don't think Rachel likes data visualizations. I never write visualization code. I like visualizations. It's just text visualization in particular is hard. And I'd rather have a selection of words that are very informative and helpful than a visualization that looks good but is sort of hard to interpret. So that's my stance right now. Yeah. V9 says, first time I'm joining. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Had a great time with weight agnostic neural networks. That's the paper we were reading. Looking forward to the stream. Oh, thank you. I hope you enjoy it. Yeah, I haven't written any code of data visualization. I have, just not in a while. We've been working on this project for a while. So any particular approach for sentiment, want to explore more? Probably the most common approach is using sentiment dictionaries, so words that have positive or negative sentiment, but then you're assuming that that has positive or negative sentiment in all of the places it could be used. So a word like dead has negative sentiment, but you could always also be like, people use that as an interjection, especially online, and they're like, oh, dead, it's so funny. So it could have a positive sentiment there, so it's just, they work okay. All right, HTML. Is this a continuation of a series? Yeah, kind of. But we're starting something new today. So let's start a new kernel, I think. And I have been looking into a little bit about how to generate HTML documents in Python. So XML.DOM builds up XML and therefore XHTML. It makes all XML tasks far easier. So this is a way to sort of like generate HTML and XML code. Okay, but it will generate XHTML and not HTML. I think I prefer vanilla HTML because I think more tools will expect that. I'm using the code snippet used as throw out your templates. Let's check that out. Because I know a lot of web developers don't ever actually start from scratch. They start from a template system and then they build based on that template. Read the module docstring and code for the rest. Copyright dance simple. Redistribution and source. You have to redistribute in the binary form, in the copyright notice. Maybe used to endorse or promote products, provided as is. So we may or may not be able to use this on Kaggle. Okay. Ryan says Vader is a good starting point for sentiment analysis. And Robbie says, sorry, my English is sometimes very weird. No worries. I can understand you perfectly well, so not a problem. And I'm willing to bet that your English is much better than my grasp of whatever your primary language is. So thank you for learning English to make my life easier. I appreciate that. All right. HTML.py has been developed to easily generate HTML code for tables and lists in Python scripts. This is mostly convenient to generate reports in HTML or simple web applications. Okay, that's what I'm looking for. There are already quite a few similar solutions for Python, either in HTML generators or templating engines. See links at the end of the article. Most of these are very powerful but quite complex for simple cases. Okay, sounds like maybe not the best fit for me and my tiny one-page report. Useful when you need to generate simple HTML code without requiring to learn a templating language. Furthermore, while some HTML generators provide a comprehensive object-oriented model of HTML, HTML.py is meant to translate Python objects into HTML as easily as possible. All right, I do like that. That sounds like me. All right, so you can... The easiest way to create an HTML table is to use a list of lists. Those may be any iterable. HTML list. HTML generators. Maybe it would be easier to use Jupyter. I don't know, man. All right. Generate tables and lists. Let's say Python Pandas HTML generator. I think that would be helpful because a lot of our objects are as Pandas data frames. Python Pandas and Plotly. Is this going to be like use IPython? Plotly, Pandas and Plotly subgraphs, Pandas data frame to HTML. Okay, here we go. Actually, it might be quite easy. All right. Okay, let's try it. So we've got the output. Oh, right, this is just the error output. I'll scooch that down. And I also want to hide the output. Okay, so the output that we have here is we have this get post info by cluster method that we wrote. And what it does is it takes a cluster number, the data that the clustering algorithm was trained on, and then the... What's the difference between this one and this one? And then the cluster. Okay, so I think this is the cluster object from, we use the spectral clustering method from scikit-learn. So I think this is the actual cluster. This is sort of the index, and then this is the data. And I think actually given get Python info by cluster. I'm trying to find the there we go. Data cluster. I'm actually going to call this cluster index because I think that's a little bit clearer about what it does. Cluster index. And then if we go down, we can see. All right, I think that's a little bit easier to read. And actually, I think the Python PEP8 style guide says that you should not have spaces between assignment operators in function. Pretty sure. Y'all let me know if I'm not being Pythonic. Oh, right, and then I do need to rerun the place where I defined the function. They will prefer that. Here we go. Do that. Post info by cluster, cluster index. Yeah. Name number is not defined. Did I not rerun it? All right, let's find get. Let's just undo all the things that we just did and just forget about it and see if that helps. Name number is not defined. Name number is not defined. All right, undo. Let's see. I think we might need to use escape C at some point. Well, I shouldn't have just started refactoring willy-nilly is the thing that I've learned there. Get post index, flight post index, get post info by cluster index. All right. Oh, I see. I didn't actually finish. I didn't finish my refactoring. All right, just because a number could be anything. It could be the number of clusters I was looking at. Yeah, there we go. All right, and now I should be able to say cluster index here. Yeah. There we go. All right. Okay, I think that's more readable. Sorry for the cluster index diversion. Yeah, oh, and people are saying, helping me out with that. Muzamil says, why can't you use something like Dash to generate the web page? Dash is a app framework, right? Not something I'm super familiar with. Dash by Flotley, interactive analytics app, web-based apps with Dash. So I don't want to do something that has like a lot of beautiful UI and interactive elements because I'm imagining that at some point people will want to take this output and then like add it to logging and do stuff like that. And ideally, I'd like to be able to generate alerts like, hey, we suddenly have a lot of posts about blah, blah. So that's not Python and Pandas. So that's not something that I'm really interested in. And this is more like dashboarding, and I really just want text output. So, all right. So let's try a new code cell. I want to know what the structure of this is. I believe this is a data frame. Yes, correct. It is a data frame. All right. And it was 2 HTML, right? Yeah. Bound method data frame to HTML. Oh, but that is a function. Okay, so here we have some HTML. And let's see if we can quickly find a HTML renderer online, just to see if it looks good. All right. Oh, that looks fine. Excellent. So I think that's going to be a really nice starting point for us. So, okay, so I'm thinking. So we did some things. We did some things that we probably want to. Let's fork this. So this has been sort of our experimental post, and there's some things in here that we're probably not going to actually want in our big old model that we share out. No, I really do want you to go to Kernels. For real, though. For real, I want you to go to Kernels. There we go. So can I go here? Is this going to open it in the editor? Excellent. And I'm going to make a fork. So copy and edit makes a fork. We move that to under the little ... menu if it's your kernel that you've written. Ryan says, dash is part of Plotly. You extract from Plotly into a dash dashboard. Okay. And Muzamil says, does everyone feel like Gandalf saying, I have no memory of this place when they see their own code after a week or so? Yes, very much so. And then Ryan says, the way I've typically set stuff like this up is via SMTP. You can send emails, so I just send an HTML email to myself periodically with a script that runs every day. Interesting. Yeah, so the big thing there is that I want anyone who has on the Kaggle team who has a question to be able to just use the bot and be like, hey, what's up on the forums real quick. And you can see how that would be useful for maybe someone who's working on monitoring. If we have a lot of exceptions, they're like, oh, what's up with this exception? Maybe somebody said something on the forum. Are there any new clusters that would be helpful and informative to me? So that's sort of my reason for having it as a Slack bot, is that other people on Slack can use it. And I'd probably open source it. So if you were on a Slack and you wanted to know what was up on the Kaggle forums, maybe that would work as well. Using meta Kaggle. Obviously, we're not going to give just anybody streaming access to the Kaggle forums for data privacy reasons, and also just security. But Ravinder says, I'm late today. Never mind. Time is an illusion. All right. So let's clean this up. Let's get to the point where we have really a minimal example that's only doing stuff that we need. So this we do need, the functions we need, and if we read in a function then we don't use it, that's fine. Functions don't take up a lot of space. Days of posts 1, yes. Eventually we'll probably want to be able to specify the specific dates as well, but we're not doing that quite yet. The pre-processing we want to keep. The date parsing, all of this, yes. We want to keep all of this. Keywords and tokenizing, yes. Vectors, yes. Clustering, yes. All right. So from here down is where we want to change things up. Generate HTML report of clusters. So one thing that I did do, and that I have been doing with the smaller clusters, is I have actually been doing the biggest cluster and taking it apart and taking the biggest cluster and then doing clustering within that cluster to get a little bit of a hierarchical structure. I don't know that I necessarily need it. And the reason is that there's no reason to suppose a priori that if 5 people make, so if you've got 5 people, right, and they all make forum topics, and in the latent space they're arranged in like a pentagon, that's not to say, we don't necessarily want to say that that's the same topic. But if we have 5 and they're sort of in a pentagon and sort of like far apart from each other, and then we have 3 people who are all like specific words, and using them over and over, then that's a pretty tight cluster, and that one we want to know about. So I might actually just drop the 0th cluster, the very first cluster, the big one, from the clustering, or whatever the biggest cluster is. I might actually drop it from the cluster synthesis and just be like, see miscellaneous posts. So I don't actually want to do all of the cluster refining stuff in here. All right, so let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of this count of posts per cluster. That could be interesting information, so I'm going to leave that there because we may want to generate that and send that to the HTML file. Subclustering the biggest cluster, I'm going to get rid of this for today. I'm gonna get rid of this. And so this is a fork. I'm not losing any code. It's all in the other kernel. I'm just writing one that's a little bit tighter. All right. I guess we could do word clouds, but I don't really want to futz with sending images to an HTML file. So for now, I'm going to get rid of this, and I might add it back in later. Get rid of just sort of my thoughts, the visualization brainstorming. Goodbye. Goodbye. We do want to read in the frequency table. And actually, I'm going to read this in up at the top where I read in the rest of the data. Frequency info for saliency measures. Measuring surprising words. Identifying surprising words. Forum-wide frequency info. There we go. I think that's a little bit more readable. The Stig says kill word clouds. I mean, they were a fun thing to have on like the sidebar of your blog in 2002, but I agree they're not always super helpful in my current thing. All right, can we get rid of that? I've got some functions here. Get rid of that, and I'll probably turn all of my functions into a script and add some more doc strings and make it a little bit more good and readable a little bit further into the future, but not right now. Not right now. Right now, step 1, get it to work. Step 2, make it pretty. Step 3, fix all the things that you broke as you were making it pretty, and then work from there. All right, and then instead of subsample, it'll be sample post info, and instead of cluster, it'll be clustering. Clustering, sample post info, sample post info. Okay, so let's run all this from the top and just make sure that it still works and I haven't accidentally deleted a function what I did need. Okay, so what I think I'm going to do is I'm just going to generate an HTML file and I'm going to try and find, I'm just going to like add stuff to it basically. I'm going to write it line by line and then I'll generate, for each of the clusters, I'll generate the table that has the information for those clusters and just put them in there. So, Puneet says, what algorithm are you using for clustering? DBScan? No, we're actually using spectral clustering, which is a graph-based method. All right. All right. Oh, okay. So there actually weren't that many forum posts the last day. That's kind of nice. Mistake said everything was dependent on the word clouds function. Thankfully not. Thankfully not. Named subsample is not. Friends, I have hard-coded in a reference to what are we looking for? Subsample, right? Cluster, all right. Cluster number, post data. There we go. I think that's a little bit clearer. Do I refer to it anywhere else? And it's actually not number, it's cluster index. And the difference is if I said cluster number 4, I think I would expect 4 clusters back instead of the cluster at index 4, which is 5 because Python. Yes, yes, yes. I think I have gotten all of these. Yes. All right, so let's try rerunning all our functions really quick. And then this should work. Oh, no, it shouldn't because I have other things that I need to know here. So if I hit tab, I should see all of my arguments. All right, so tab, what was it? It was cluster number 1, and then frequency table is still frequency table, and then it was cluster data maybe? Y'all, I don't remember. Just tell me what other arguments I can have here. All right, so cluster number, which we've done. Nope, I don't remember. And this is why if I had written a doc string, it wouldn't be a problem. And yet, so cluster index, post data, and then cluster object. Get salience, cluster dict. Oh, you know what? I bet I didn't update this. Yeah, that's the problem. Okay, so cluster index, post data, and then cluster object, which we're going to need to pass into the top function as well. But I didn't update the top function, which is why it wasn't showing up in autocomplete. That makes sense. All right, so instead of cluster number, it's cluster index, so that's changed. I do wish that we did the thing where if you double click something, it gets highlighted all the places that it's been used. So get salience dict, cluster index, post data, cluster object, cluster index, post data, cluster. And then no, I don't need to do that. Why am I doing that? I don't know. I had a weird thing where it's like, I need to assign it a default value. I don't. It's fine. All right, and then the things we need to pass in are cluster index, frequency table, post data, and cluster object. Okay. Get surprising words. Cluster index equals, let's start with 0. Frequency table should be frequency table. Yep. Post data should be, I believe it's sample post info is what we called it. And then clustering object should be clustering. I should be giving things better names. I'm going to have to go back and refactor this to make it actually usable. Oh, right. And 1 is the big one, so I'm actually going to give it one that's a little bit smaller. Let's give it 7 then, because we've got some empty clusters, which is fine. That's to be expected. Mazamel says, why do I hear a muffled repetition of your voice after a few seconds? You shouldn't be. Is anyone else hearing that? It could be, I mean, it could be an echo. I'm in a new office, which is a little bit echoier. And Robbie says, why are you re-editing your own code? To make it easier to read so I can understand it better later on. Also, just like refactoring and going back and making your code work better is a good idea in general. All right, and now this should work. Yeah, excellent. Puneet says, what do you think are good resources to learn about graph neural networks? I haven't worked with them. If anyone else has a suggestion, let me know. And this Stig says, I don't hear it. So it might be a YouTube thing if other folks on YouTube are hearing it. Yeah, I'm going to get some dampening stuff in here so it'll be less echoey. I don't know if you can hear it, but I can hear it and it bothers me. All right, so we have finished let's see, 0. So 0 is not that big. It should work. Not if there's a weird number of parentheses, it shouldn't. It's interesting to me that this is taking so long. Okay, so CV result and test doc mean are our most surprising words. And, well, I guess it's not that many posts, but it could be it could be that one of the posts is very long and that's why it's taking a while, so. Yeah. Okay, so this is the one that I expect to be sort of the miscellaneous cluster. Okay, so I think we're pretty good here. And I don't need both of these examples. I only need one code example because I am going to a loop. Yes, cluster counts. So what I do want to do is I don't want to loop through any of the clusters that are empty. So you can see that I have at least 11 clusters and I do not have 11 here. So it looks like 3 is, nope, 4 is, 5 is, 6, 7. Oh, are none of the clusters empty? Interesting. I feel like usually I've had a couple empty clusters. Patrick says, how are you getting the most surprising words? We did that the last 2 weeks, and the most surprising words are the words that have a higher frequency than you would expect, given the frequency of all words in the Kaggle forums, basically. So, yeah, no, I knew what you meant. All right, let's. Okay. What do we want to do now? So I think the first thing that we want to do is that we want to write the words from the surprising clusters here. And I think that this is a, I'm pretty sure that this is a data frame. So I should be able to just do 2 HTML and it should give me HTML. Nope. Series object has no two HTML. All right. Pandas series. There we go. Somebody knew. To frame, convert. Oh, okay. So I can go to frame to convert it to a data frame, and then to HTML to convert to HTML. Except those are both functions. Nice. Okay. And I think I can do like so, right? Right. Yeah, that should work, right? Excellent. Okay. And so this should, if we take a peekity peek, ooh, nope. If we take a peek on the, I just want to copy and paste the whole thing. There we go. If we pop this into our HTML editor, it should look like valid HTML. It does. Excellent. And then the only thing that I want to add to that is, I think the, So I think I want to add a column here. Let's see. Surprising to HTML. Right. And then you need the cluster. You need all this jam to be passed in. And then we can just do this. Whoop. 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 Alright, so none of these need a default value. Do you think this will be under 60 characters? Will this be too long if I do this? Meh, white space is free. Okay, so we have this. We're creating it to a data frame. Let's call this words data frame. What do I want the output to look like? So I want the output to look like a quick way to see information on the number of posts in the cluster. Amount of frame. The number of posts in the cluster. A place where I could add sentiment further on, and then the most important words. And I think I actually want the series in as a column. Can you do that? Pandas series with column type. No. Pandom column as series. Column as with a series in each cell. And these are lists. Okay, so it looks like I could use a list. All right, so I don't. All right, so I want to convert my series to a list. Panda series to list. All right. I don't know why this one's being slow. Is it because I spelled it really badly? All right, panda series dot to list. Okay, so let's say words equals get surprising words dot to list, and then was there an underscore? There was not an underscore. All right. So I think I want a. So I want a data frame where each row in the data frame is information on a specific cluster. Okay, excellent. And then I want in the data frame information on the to list, and then I want the size of the cluster. So p.series cluster counts. Can I get it for 0? It's 38, and then 1 is 4. All right, excellent. So I can get cluster count. So I'm going to need to pass that in. Let's say data frame cluster info, I think is what I'm doing. Make data frame with cluster info is what this function is doing, because functions should do one thing. So that's the words, and then the size is going to be I did not actually copy and paste successfully. No, I don't want that one. I want this one. There we go. Cluster object dot labels dot value counts, and then I want the cluster index. So that's the size. And I think that's the. Oh, I probably also want the index. So index equals cluster index, and then just as a sanity check, let's print words. Can I pass multiple arguments into print? I can never remember what Python thinks I can pass multiple arguments into. All right, so I have absolutely failed to remember the syntax for a Python function, so let's check that. I got one up here. Oh, I see, it's def and then number. I don't have to assign it. That's an R thing. Right? Yeah, excellent. So then we should be able to use the function, try it out really quick. So that's going to be the... Okay, and I don't actually need this cluster counts object. because I ended up recalculating it down there, which I think is fine because that should be pretty fast. So I need the cluster index. And right now it's not going to make a data frame. Right now it'll just print some stuff out. And then the data is sample post info, yeah? Nope, that's the post data. Post data. And then cluster equals clustering. And then we also need the frequency table. Yep. Frequency table equals, and we have read our frequency table in and called it just frequency table, and comma, delete these. So this should just print out some stuff. It did not. Got an unexpected keyword argument post data. That's because it's a lowercase d. Got an unexpected cluster object is what that's called. Nice. Okay, so this is the, these are the words, this is the size of the cluster, and then that is the object. Excellent. So I think I'm ready at this point to make a Pandas data frame. Let's see. So we're already in the Pandas series data frame. Data index columns d-type copy. Call 1, call 2. All right, excellent. Okay, so I'm just going to copy and paste this and use this. So we're going to use this. So data, I'll use D because that's what they use in the words equals words. Nope. No, so wrong. So I think I actually want the index and then the size and then the words. Index equals index. Words, nope. Is words, and then size is size. Size is size. And I don't think I actually need to have it in square brackets. I think that's because they're creating an array. So I can just get rid of all of that. And then use this. Da, 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 da. And then let's return the data frame. And do you need, I don't remember if you need parentheses or not. Invalid syntax. Well, noted. Okay, is that not exactly the syntax that they use here? Maybe it needs a space. Right, Python data frame. Let's see. Pandas data frame mixed types create. D types, standard Pythons. Alright. Pandas data frame mixed types create. Mixed types of elements in a data frame's column. One or more columns. D type, select D types. Mixed D type data frame without a total copy. A little bit more kiafi. Oh, Mozart says it's a dict, use curly parentheses. I can see how it is a dictionary as it has both keys and values. Yeah, thank you, helpful. Thank you, Mozart. Oh, and Patrick is also saying it needs to be a dictionary. All right. Oh, wait. All right, excellent. So we have the index of the data frame of the cluster. We have the words that are. Let's actually call this surprising words, or I guess like characteristic words or something. What's a? Because I'd use the term salient, but I don't think that's going to be super transparent to other people who don't have any linguistics background. Characteristic? Maybe? All right. Okay, so what I'm thinking about here is I want to do this for every cluster, right? But here's the sticking point. The way that I have it written now, I would have to create each row and then append each row, and that is very memory inefficient. So I want to avoid doing that. So I think I can get around it pretty easy. Yeah, excellent. So what I'm thinking is that I can create this object within the function. So instead of having to recalculate this a bunch, I can do cluster sizes, right? And then use that to create a data frame, or I think it's already a data frame, right? Right? No, it's a series. Okay, so let's do that to frame, I believe. No space, no underscore. Nope. Pretty sure that this is specifically for series. I could be wrong. All right, there we go. Excellent. Okay, so we've created a data frame from that. So that's pretty easy. And then we can use that as our template and add columns to it. We have about 6 minutes. Can we do it? I don't have complete faith. I'm still much slower with Pandas than I am with Base R. And much slower than I am with the tidyverse. The tidyverse is very fast for me, as I've gotten familiar with it. All right, so we did to frame. Is that correct? I'm trying to remember all the stuff I just did. To frame, yep. Okay, I am going to need to rename this. Okay, so I'm going to need to rename the column so that it's not called 0 and it's called size. And then I need to figure out the indices, because right now they're the indices of the data frame. Actually, that might be fine. Let's see what happens when we try to convert that to HTML. All right. Do we get the information about the index as well? It would help if I copied the HTML and not the Python, huh? That would probably work a little bit better. Okay, nice. So we do get the indices, so that's not a big problem. But I do need to change the let's move this down so it's a little bit closer to where we are. A little bit further. Little bit further. Bop. Bop. All right, yeah, so it's just right there so we can see it really quick. So I do need to rename the column. So pandas rename column. Dot rename. All right. Do I need to give a... columns, 0 equals size. All right. So let's call this size data frame just for our first little testing bit. And then we need to do size df, rename column 0, and we're going to call it size instead, and curly braces because it's a dictionary, and then round braces because it's a function. Okay, that sure didn't work. All right. For some reason it's indexed into that instead of 0 being the name, which is a little bit weird. Slightly mysterious. All right. And then I don't know if the index of a data frame is iterable. It feels like it should be, right? It feels like one of those things you should be able to loop for. Let's check really quick. So for I in we're going to print the I. Take a look. Is not callable. Okay. Maybe it's because it's, yeah, okay, yeah, it is iterable. Excellent. So we can write a loop and just go through and do it that way, which is pretty nice. Except I do want to create 2 empty columns here. I want to create an empty column for the word so that I've pre-populated it and I can just add it by index. So I'm going to add a column. Nope. Column to data frame. That's exactly what I want. And I'm only going to be doing it once and then I'll be updating it, so I'm not super worried about it. All right, so let's do size df, and then characteristic words, and we're just going to make it an empty array and then see what that looks like. Does not work. All right, length of values does not match length of index. If I just say 0, will it be repeated? Yes, excellent. Okay, so that is a good first step. And then we just need to loop through and get the words. All right, so I can get rid of all of this nonsense. Don't need that right now. And the thing that we are getting is, so we do need to loop through to get the surprising words. That's going to take a little bit because it's a big frequency calculation, but I think it should be okay. So let's see, for I in size df dot index, it is nope, not a function. Size df we're gonna get the surprising words. Cluster index equals I. Frequency table. All right. So those all are going to be the same. We don't actually need cluster index here. Those will be passed in. Let's do this just for now. And then 2 lists, so that should work. And then we just want to add it to our data frame. So size df, and then we want the row first and then column. We can do it by index because the index don't start from 1s, which should work. Let's find out. Do I need to reassign this, it looks like, maybe. Okay, and then, because I was noticing that down here, this wasn't called size like we wanted it to be. Okay, so getting all this information, we're putting it to list. We want to add it to our data frame. So, what's words? Size data frame, the row is going to be I, and then the column is going to be characteristic words. And hopefully this works. I think this is going to be one of the things that Pandas yells at me about, but we'll find out. It is. Okay, length of values does not match length of index. Okay, so I just want it to be a simple list that's added to the data frame. Moosebell says, do you recommend to watch the stream on YouTube or Twitch? Same diff. No big. Okay, so the problem is that I'm having trouble... So I should have an object called words. Let's check what's in that. Yeah, okay, excellent. And let's see, so in the zeroth, keywords. Can you not? Okay. Pandas add info to data frame by column and row. Data frame.append, append rows, not what I'm interested in. Append, add rows, append, add new column to existing data frame, one row to existing cell. Yes, that's what I want. Yes, okay. Code doesn't work. Don't use chained index. Use dot index, apparently, is what you're supposed to use. All right, let's try that. Dot index. Only integer slices, ellipses, number. All right. Too many indices for array. What? Oh, IX, not index. I feel like this is deprecated. I feel like I'm going to get a yelling about this. Yes, it is deprecated. For positional indexing, ilock. Okay. That don't work. Okay, must have equal length keys and values when setting with an iterable. Okay, so the problem is that the list doesn't fit. Because it's more than length of 1, even though we know that we can put lists in a cell. So what if I did this, maybe? No, that didn't work. Python put list in cell. Insert list into a cell. There we go. That's my exact question. Yes, that's an error I'm getting. 1B, 0.1.5, dot at. Does not work. Okay. I had to make sure that the original data frame type object was the, okay, so it needs to be dtype equals object. Okay. I don't know how to make an object if it's a 0. Can I make it an empty array? I'm pretty sure that didn't work last time. Okay. Dot set value people are saying, but okay, so I did see that, but in the pandas they were saying it was in this forum post they said it was deprecated. Set value has been deprecated since 0.2.1, 0.21.0. I guess we can try it, but I'm guessing it's not going to work based on the fact that people are saying it's been deprecated. Set values is deprecated, will be removed. Must have equal length keys and values when setting with an iterable. Is it actually a list? Is that my problem? No, it's already a list. Z says the length of the data frames are different. This is not a data frame. This is a list, and we should be able to just put it in a cell. And I don't know why it not work. This is very straightforward in R. It's times like these, and I'm like, fine, I guess. All right. All right, so let's make sure that we know that it is type object, and let's see if that will help. Let's go back to the @ which I think should work because they said that that wasn't deprecated. Nope. Must have equal length keys and values when setting with an iterable. One. All right, let's take a look at why is this called 1? Okay, let's just run this and see if we can get this to work. Sorry, this is the exciting part where I just sort of frown at the screen a lot. People are saying, can you just access the cell to see what it returns? I can. Okay, let's see. So this should be... Okay, so that looks right so far. And then... that didn't work because of that error. Yer says, you can search replace terms in a cell with escape F. Oh, helpful. Thank you. Okay. @ takes column name and not index. Okay. Oh, so if @ takes column name and that's the problem, that's the row. This is going to be the column, and then it's characteristic words. That would actually be better for me because then if I change the index, did it work? Yes. Okay, that's what I'm looking for. Okay. Except instead of 1, I want it I. All right, let's run this whole shebang. See where we're at. And thank you for that, Mozart. Ooh, we're well over an hour now, but I want to finish it. Gosh darn it. I want it to be done. And it's taking a while because of this. This particular step requires getting the frequency for all of the words in the table and then calculating the frequency in the cluster, and then comparing the difference in the frequency in the cluster to the frequency of the words in the data set overall. Okay. Fantastic. This is exactly what I am looking for. Helpful. Interesting. So it looks like the words that are most characteristic of this are like values, which is interesting. But you know what time it is. Get rid of you, get rid of you. I think that's pretty much what we're looking for. Get rid of you. Yeah, let's get rid of this for now. We don't necessarily need to have it all in a function because we're only running it once. What was it? Where's my escape button? There we go. Escape button. Looks like it's not working right now. All right, so now, oh, maybe it is, but it's just like behind something and I can't see it. No? Okay, so now I can't click into the notebook. That's weird. That might be a bug. So let's do commit this because it's working. And then the last thing that I need to do, All right, so once the commit's going, it should keep going on a second VM, so I should be able to refresh, no problem. So the last thing that I want to do is actually just save it to an HTML and then write it out so I can open the HTML. And sub09xtx says, this is Python, right? Correct. All right, so size df is our thing. To HTML with open. So let's call it cluster output.html read plus as file. We're going to write lines. Nope. Oh, wait. What's this write file magic? I saw that pop up. Jupyter write file. Write file. Nope. File 9. Write the contents of a cell to a file. The file will be overwritten. So is this the output or the actual contents of the cell? I'm gonna take a risk and say it's gonna be the output. So, and then let's have the file name be cluster report.html, and then we'll write in that. And I know we just committed, but we're going to commit all over again, and that should give us a output file that is HTML that has just the very basic information on the clusters that we have, and it's going to take just a second to run. So you can see. Oh, am I? I'm not actually sure that I'm actually using Yake anymore. I think I might have stopped using it because there was a bug and I just didn't fix it. So that's something to look at. All right, so I think that's it. I think we got the whole thing working. Let's see. Here says that it's the second, so it's the output and not the contents of the cell, which makes sense because why would you run or write just the code to a file? I feel like there are other ways to do that. I could be wrong. So you can see it's still we're still in the very first cell here, and that'll keep running as that does. Yeah. Am I actually using Yake in here? Yeah, I'm not. I'm still pretty happy with the results, so I'm just going to get rid of that entirely because I think it'll make it a little bit faster to train in the future, and then I can figure it out a little bit later. So, Ardash says it will write cell contents as written in docs probably. Write the contents of the cell to a file. Append the contents of a cell to a file. I mean, if it does that, it's fine. I'll fix it. Render this cell as a block of HTML. Helpful. Capture bash. All right, so let's see. We should, when we open the version, we should see output, and maybe we'll see code, and maybe we'll see HTML in the output. Output, cluster report. Let's download this. Okay, yeah, it just writes the code in the cell, so less helpful. I thought it would be good, and it was not. So I'm just gonna rewrite this, so it actually writes it out to a file, and yeah, that'll be it. We've started our first stage of report writing. From here on out, I think it should be pretty straightforward. Famous last words. Maybe it will be, maybe it won't be. So with open, yes, I know it's not right yet. With open, what did I call it? Cluster report .html. Read plus as file dot write. And the reason I'm doing this in width is so that I don't have to remember to close the file, because I never do. All right, get rid of you. Oop. Invalid syntax. All right, with file open Python. Close enough to Python. Oh, it's got to be in quotes. That's the problem. File not found. Invalid mode right. All right, and then if we do bang ls, we should see it in our current, yeah. And then if we do cat cluster report.html, we should see it all printed out there. Yeah, and then it should actually be HTML when we print it out. Excellent. All right. So I'm gonna commit it again, and then we'll get output again, and that'll be an HTML file, and it only took an hour and a half. Yeah, it wasn't bad. We actually got a little bit farther than I expected it to. Adar said maybe with the right plus flag, we could. I don't especially care about appending, because I'm generating a new report every day, so if it overwrites the previous report, like, whatever, don't care that much. And this one should also be a little bit faster because I took out the bit where you have to reinstall Yake every time because we're not using it right now. And honestly, the results are okay. I do like it. I think the biggest benefit of using Yake here would be because you are only looking at keywords. The process where you're going through and doing the frequency calculation is a little bit faster because you're not looking at all the words. So that could be a time savings overall, but I would need to test that. Empirical question, as I always say. And it's thinking, and it's gonna take a little bit because there's a lot of vectorization and processing that's going on here. And if you see this, it just means that the code is currently rendering and being run. All right, so I'm gonna call it there. Oh, let me make this. Let me make this cell. Let me make this notebook public real quick. I'm gonna add my admin account so I can edit it later if I need to. None of these people are me. I think it's our Tatman. All right, interesting. There we go. and edit, and then I'm going to make it public. Yes, I know it's going to be Apache 2.0 and save. Okay, so you guys can check this out if you are interested. I need to change that file. I'll do it later. But the important thing is that if we go down here to output, you can see that it's valid HTML. And if I open it, you can see that it looks like this. And it's a little bit different because the clustering is non-deterministic. So it looks like the numeric discussion has now been added to this first cluster as opposed to some of these other clusters. So like you can see the cluster 3, there's 12 posts, and people tend to be talking about quotas and reset. And here people are talking about SQL and databases. So pretty helpful. And then I'd like to be able to, like, you just click on the index and you go down and you see all the posts for that particular cluster. All right, I think we're getting there. We're trucking along. I'm gonna call it there for today. We've gone a little bit over, but I wanted to get to like a satisfying stopping point. So I don't know what I was looking for. My phone. I was gonna look at my phone to say the next time that we'll be back, because I won't be here next Friday. I'm gonna be out of office. So maybe I'll upload a video or something that comes out then. We'll see. But I will be here next Wednesday. We're not going to be reading a paper. We're going to be doing something else exciting. Watch your inboxes. It's a secret. And I will talk to you on Wednesday. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you on Kaggle. Bye.